Hey everyone, welcome back to Kids Network Studios. I'm Amy Kuhn, aka 1028, and this is Pokemon video series. This is video 2. Previously, we talked about a whole bunch of Pokemon, Bulbasaur to Pidgeot, and I have to say, that was pretty good, considering that was our first video. We covered 18 Pokemon in like no time flat. So I think this series will be quick, and we'll get through it sooner than you think, I think. I did want to do a video yesterday, but I got home yesterday, so I'm just like, let me rest. Yeah, I still have the cough. So anyways, let's get started. And also, I'm not going to cover Mega Evolutions, Eevee and its evolutions, or Legendary Pokemon until the very end. And I'm also going in number order of Pokemon, so that way I'm not backtracking a lot, and we can keep this in one straight shot. Which is why I'm doing Eevee and its evolutions in one video altogether, mainly because Eevee's evolutions are all over the place. So I'd rather just do it in one shot, and I'll be done. So without further ado, let's get started with Rattata, the mouse Pokemon. A normal type with one evolution, Raticate, which is the mouse Pokemon. Now Raticate and Rattata have a weakness to fighting type moves. And if you are a competitive battler, yeah, these two normal types are not recommended for your battling style. Mainly because Hyper Fang being a good attack and all, it's just not gonna win you any battles. Sorry. Our next Pokemon evolutionary line is Spearow and Fearow. Spearow, the tiny bird Pokemon, a normal flying type with the weaknesses to electric, ice, and rock. Fearow is the beak Pokemon, also a normal flying type with the same weaknesses as Spearow. Now, in all honesty, I had a Fearow, and I have to say, competitively, it was not the best Pokemon, and neither was Spearow. I was really disappointed on how bad these two were. Granted, they are good when you're trying to win badges and stuff, but when you're competing against friends, they're not the best Pokemon. Our next two Pokemon are Ekans and Arbok. Ekans, the snake Pokemon, a poison type with two weaknesses, ground and psychic. And then you got Arbok, the Cobra Pokemon, which is also a poison type. And if you're battling competitively, these two Pokemon are not your best bet. Mainly because there are better poison types out there, and there are stronger poison types out there. Sorry, Arbok, but Team Rocket gave you a bad rap. Our next Pokemon is, of course, the most famous Pokemon of all, and its evolution too. Pikachu, the mouse Pokemon, an electric type, and Raichu, also a mouse Pokemon, and an electric type, with one weakness, ground. Now, Pikachu and Raichu competitively are really good, especially if you train them right. But other than that, I mean, Pikachu, it could be a great addition to your final team. But it's Pikachu that makes the magic, not Raichu. Sorry, man. Our next Pokemon is Sandshrew and Sandslash. Sandshrew, the mouse Pokemon, ground type, and Sandslash, also a mouse Pokemon, and also a ground type. They have weaknesses to water, grass, and ice. And competitively, Sandshrew and Sandslash, yeah, they kind of suck. But if you need them to complete your Pokedex, I guess there's nothing else you can do about it, but competitively, these guys stink. Our next Pokemon is going right into the Nidoran family, and our first one to cover is the female Nidoran, the Poison Pin Pokemon. Obviously a poison type, with the weaknesses to ground and psychic type moves. Nidoran female, like its male counterpart, has 2 evolutions. Nidorina, which is the Poison Pin Pokemon, also a poison type, with the same weaknesses, ground and psychic. And then you have Nidoqueen, the Drill Pokemon, which is a poison ground type, with the weaknesses to water, ice, ground, and psychic. Competitively, Nidoqueen, you're better off going with Nidoking. Sorry. Nidoqueen is awesome at everything, but not really that great competitively. I mean, you can use Nidoqueen in a variety of ways, but it's not that good competitively. So let's cover our males. Nidoran male. Also the Poison Pin Pokemon, with the weaknesses to ground and psychic, with 2 evolutions. Nidorino, the Poison Pin Pokemon, also a poison type, and Nidoking, the Drill Pokemon, a poison ground type like Nidoqueen. However, Nidoking is a bit stronger, and I like it a whole lot better, and it's a lot better competitively. So in all honesty, if you want to compete with something in the Nidoran family, Nidoking's your best bet. Because it only has 4 weaknesses, and it's just great in battle. Alrighty, our next Pokemon is Clefairy, the fairy Pokemon, and obviously a fairy type. Before the 6th generation actually came along, Clefairy was actually a normal type Pokemon, but this new fairy type had reshuffled a bit. So in order to wipe out a Clefairy, instead of using a fighting type like you used to, you now have to either use a poison type or a steel type to take it out. And then you have its evolved form, Clefable, the fairy Pokemon, also a fairy type, with the weaknesses to poison and steel types. Clefairy and Clefable, they're pretty good, but okay, in all honesty, in the normal type sense, back in the 5th generation, they were not that good competitively. However, I have not been able to battle with them in this generation as of yet, mainly because I haven't caught a Clefairy or raised it or evolved it into a Clefable. So I really can't say if it's good competitively. I really can't say if Clefairy and Clefable are good competitively as a fairy type now. As a normal type, oh yeah, I can bash these guys all day, because they were really that bad as normal types. Maybe the fairy type change gave them a boost, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see until I actually get a Clefairy and battle with it competitively. Because other than that, I have nothing else to say about it. I'm clueless. Alrighty, our next 2 Pokemon are Vulpix and Ninetales. Let's start with Vulpix, the fox Pokemon, a fire type with the weaknesses to water, ground, and rock types. And Ninetales, also the fox Pokemon, a fire type, and with the weaknesses to water, rock, and ground. In all honesty, there are better fire type Pokemon, but if you're in a pinch, I guess Ninetales is pretty good. But it doesn't have that strength like a Typhlosion does. I'm sorry. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ninetales is beautiful. Ninetales can win you a lot of contests and everything else. but competitively, not that good. Not that good at all. Alrighty, our next two Pokemon are Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff. First, Jigglypuff, Jigglypuff, the balloon Pokemon, a normal fairy type. And before the 6th generation came along, it was a just plain normal type. And to shut down a Jigglypuff, you need a poison or steel type, compared to the fighting type weakness from years ago. Then you have Wigglytuff, a normal fairy type Pokemon, and its classification is a balloon Pokemon with the weaknesses to poison and steel types. Competitively, Wigglytuff is pretty good. I would suggest Wigglytuff in competitive battles, believe it or not. But again, with the new fairy typing going on, I can't say 100% sure if I can recommend it or not. I would say experiment a little bit before you even throw out a Wigglytuff. Because if you don't do something right, it's going to be knocked out in a heartbeat by a poison type Pokemon. Sorry. You gotta watch what you do. Speaking of watching what we're doing, we're almost out of time. So we're going to wrap it up here. And we're going to continue from Zubat on. Yay, we get to cover the most annoying Pokemon there is in caves. Whoopee. So stay tuned, guys, for video 3, which will be coming out the 16th, possibly. Until then, guys, this is Amy Coon, AK1028, and I'm signing off from Kids Network Studios. Stay tuned for more Pokemon stuff. Bye, guys.